Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another music theory tip video from Mr. Tingham. So today we're going to learn about a very important aspect of music theory and music composition called smooth voice leading. Okay, smooth voice leading is when you have a chord progression. You know, using Roman numerals, it could be 1 going to 6, going to 2, going to 5, going to 1, or any kind of chord progression that you have. But basically, if it's going to use smooth voice leading, what that means, the top note of every chord in the Roman numeral is not moving more than a third in any direction, okay? So our best way to demonstrate that is to do this example right here. So this wants us to do a chord progression in the key of D using smooth voice leading, okay? It also wants us to indicate the chord names and the inversions used. In order to make our Roman numeral chord progression smoothly voice-led, we have to use inversions. It's the only way to get the right letters to be in the right distance so that it sounds smooth, okay? So step one, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write out my scale for whatever key I'm in, okay? So I'm going to do that right here. I am in the key of D. So I have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. And we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This makes it really easy for me to figure out what my Roman numerals start on and how to build them as triads, okay? So step two, I'm going to fill in the chord progression, fill in the Roman numerals actually. And my placeholders, okay? Now usually guys, when you hear me use the word placeholders, I'm talking about notes that go on the staff immediately, but in this case, I'm actually just talking about the letters that would go in the Roman numerals, okay? So, filling in the Roman numerals, I need 1, 6, 2, 5, 7, and 1, okay? Depending on where you are in the year, we might not have covered 5, 7 chords, which looks like this. It's a 5 chord, but it has a 7 on the top. If we have covered it, use it. If not, just cross the 7 out. Don't worry about it. And back to 1, okay? So, now I'm on my placeholders. I want to know what the 3 possible notes are in each of these choices, okay? So my 1 chord in the key of D is going to start on a D, okay? I'm going to skip E, add an F sharp, skip G, and add an A. So I have D, F sharp, A for my 1 chord. That's the same as this 1 chord, so I can go ahead and just get that out of the way, okay? My 6 chord is minor, starts on 6, which is B. Skip 7, go back to 1, have a D. Skip 2, add 3, now I have an F sharp, okay? I'm going to finish this out really quick. 2 chord is going to start on E, add a G, add a B. And then my 5, 7 chord is a 4-note chord, okay? If you know what the 7 means already, go ahead and do all 4 notes. If not, just do the 3 notes. I'm probably just going to do the 3 notes for now. So 5, 7 chord is going to start on A. It's going to have an A, C sharp, and an E, okay? So, I have all my Roman numerals in order. I know all the notes that it's supposed to have. The last step is to smoothly voice lead all the notes in this chord from here to there, okay? So, step 3, invert and smoothly voice lead, okay? So, it's kind of out of order. We should smoothly voice lead and then invert as we go, but let's take a look at my first thing. I did forget one thing. Key signature. Key signature of D is 2 sharps, F sharp, C sharp. Okay, so my first chord, guys, I can put this any way I want. The only thing I have to do is I have to use D, F sharp, and A. Doesn't really matter what order they go in. I'm going to keep this really simple, so I am just actually, yeah, I'll keep it simple. So I'm going to do D, F sharp, and A, okay? Now, this is a root position triad, as in line, line, line. So I don't need to change this Roman numeral at all, okay? Now, here's where the big focus comes into view. This is how you smoothly voice lead. We look at this top note here, which is an A. We want to make sure that when we go to this next chord with B, D, and F sharp, that it's going to a note that's within a third away. If you recall, if I'm on this note here, for example, a third would be going up to the next line that way or the next line this way. I can also go less than that. I can go to the next space away, which would only be a second, or I can go to the next space the other way, which would be a second. I can also stay on the same exact note, okay? So that's a choice that works, that's a choice that works, and that's a choice that works. What does not work is if I'm on here and I'm going way down to there, Okay, that's way more than a third. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a sixth away, so we can't do that. Likewise, if it was even here, this would be a fourth away. F is 1, E is 2, D is 3, C is 4. Can't do that either. So, basic rule of thumb, guys, whatever note you're on, if you're on a line, you can go to as far as the next line away, up or down, but not any further than that. If you're on a space, you can go up to one space away in either direction, but you can't go any further than that. So here's why we write the placeholders out down here, guys. If I'm looking at A, now I can literally see what my choices are before I even do them. If we look at A, we want to see if A can go up to B. B would be right here above that line, which would only be a second, which is fine. So B works, okay? We cannot go up to D, because D would be way up there, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't use D. We could also bring it down to F sharp, because F sharp is just one line away. So here's my A, here's what my F sharp would be, and so. So almost all the time, guys, you're gonna have about two choices you can do. In this case, we could go up to B or down to F sharp. I am gonna go down to F sharp because I want to move my chords into the middle of the staff. Another useful reason of why we use placeholders is now that you've done that, you cross this out and you know that you don't need that anymore. We still need D and we still need B. Now, it doesn't matter what order these go in, guys, but you have to use all of them, okay? So I'm going to put my D there and my B right here, okay? Everything is moving, but the top note is not moving more than a third, and that's why it's okay. So that one there is done. Let's look at our 2 chord, which has E, G, and B. So my top note is F. Can it go to E? Yep, it's only a second, that's fine. Could it go to G? Only a second, that's also fine. I'm gonna have it go to the G since I already wrote it in there. So I have E and G done, now I just need to put the B in. The B can go anywhere, but it cannot go on top of this note, so we have to put it down there. Now, we gotta look at this chord for a second. Because this is not a root inversion triad, as in it's not all lines or all spaces, we have to invert this properly, okay? The 5th of the chord is on the bottom. Root, 3rd, 5th. Because the 5th is on the bottom, that means it's second inversion, which means I draw a 6 and I draw a 4. Right next to the Roman numeral 2. And then I'm done and I can keep going. Okay? I'm going to try to finish this up before my class comes in here. Next chord, we have a G. Can G go up to A? It sure can. It can go right up there. It would be totally fine. Can G go up to C sharp? Nope, that's way too far away, so we can't use that. Can G go down to E? We could also do that. I'm going to make it a little bit complicated again, and I'm going to go to the A up top. So I have an A here, I'm going to cross that out. I'm just going to fill in C and C sharp and E left, those are the only 2 left, and I'm going to put them in as close as I can. There's my E, there's my C sharp, okay? If we look at this one, this is also not in root inversion. I have 2 spaces here in a line. Because it's not all lines or all spaces, we have to change this number, it's not a 7. This is going to be first inversion because the 3rd of the chord is in the bottom. The C sharp is in the bottom. So for that, we just write a little 6 right there. Not 6-4. Okay, now I want to finish it off. I'm on A. A cannot go to D, it's too far away, that's a 4th. A could go down to F sharp, that'd be fine, that's only a 3rd away. But A could also stay on A. I really like that. I really like the end of my chord progression, the top note won't move at all. That's like as smooth as you could possibly be. So I put the A in, it's done. Put the F sharp in underneath that, it's done. Put the D in there, it's done. This is root inversion, as in they're all on line, so I don't have to change the Roman numerals at all, okay? So again, to review, the 3 steps that you have are to write out the scale first, so D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and all the numbers, so you know where to get your notes. Then you're gonna fill in the Roman numerals and the placeholders so you know what your choices are. If you go through and you write all of them up there, first, you're gonna have to do a lot of erasing, and that's not something you probably want to do. So that's why I write them down here. And then step 3, make sure you're checking your top note of every chord and smoothly voice-leading it and invert the Roman numerals as necessary, okay? So again, if we check it, my A going down F sharp is only a 3rd. F sharp going up to G is a 2nd. And G going up to A is a 2nd. And A staying on A is unison. So that's about as smooth as we could possibly get that. All right, feel free to pause the video whenever you need to and go back and study anything you need to. Good luck.